Hey guys, it's Taylor and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. Today's video is all the books that I read in July. I'm so thankful it's finally August. I am beyond ready for fall time, Christmas time, winter time, cozy time, like literally all of it. Like I'm literally so excited, which I know a lot of people I'm watching their like July wrap-ups and they're like, summer's gonna be, I don't care. I'm excited. I'm ready. Where are my fall girlies? Let me know. And I'm not just saying that like just for the basic like pumpkin spice vibes, but I just feel like the fall for readers is like the best time because there is nothing better than wearing like cozy pajamas, cozy vibes, like it's cold out, it's warm in your house, sweater, fuzzy socks, candle lit, Christmas cookies, reading your books. Like the vibes are just immaculate. They cannot be matched and I literally cannot wait. But with all that being said, let's do my July wrap up. I think I read 11 or 12 books this month, which actually is a lot more than I thought I was going to read. If you guys are keeping up with my vlogs on this channel, I did take some summer classes that were extremely hard. I took Spanish 3, I took a science lab, all this stuff, and they were all like 4 and 5 week courses, and the course load I had was literally insane. And in all my vlogs I was talking about how stressed I was. I felt like I couldn't get into books because I was so worried about school, but I passed and I actually got accepted into the teaching program, which is a whole nother thing. I'll probably talk about it in a vlog or something. But with all that being said, I didn't really think I was gonna read that many books this month, and I actually feel like I read like a good, like my average amount is usually around 10 to 15 books a month. So I don't know how I did that, but we did. Okay, so we started off the month. We actually read Powerless by L.C. Silver, which is one of the books in the Chestnut Spring series. I actually was doing a themed video, so I read this for my reading Sarah Crowley's 5-star read video. So I had read this and I did enjoy it, but out of the other books in the series, this wasn't my favorite. So it's kind of hard because if this was like a standalone, I would have really loved it, but I was like having high expectations. I think that Hopeless was my favorite. I can't. It's with Willa and Cade, so those might not even be the right names because reading whatever. But yeah, this was a hockey ballerina romance, which I really liked. It was kind of giving icebreaker vibes, but like more small town and like more mature. And I did really enjoy this. I did just feel like it was a little bit insta-lovey for my liking. So it just wasn't my favorite tropes out of the series so far, but it was still really good. I listened to one audiobook this month, and that would be Jeanette McCurdy's I'm Glad My Mom Died. I've actually had this since it came out, but I was waiting for my hold on Libby for the audiobook for literally months. So as soon as I got this, I was so excited to listen to this. I just knew that I wanted to listen to it because I don't typically read fiction books, and also it was done in Jeanette McCurdy's like narration, which I thought was really cool. It made it a lot more personal, and I'm just gonna say this book was like so good, and I obviously wouldn't rate this the same way I'm rating like my other books, but I just feel like she told her story so well and like so mature for all the things that did happen to her, like the fact that she was able to speak out about all this and be like extremely vulnerable. Like she said some things in this book that I personally, like if they happened to me or I did them, I don't think I'd ever tell people, especially if I was famous. So my cat is playing with my string lights in the back, so I'm sorry about that noise, but I just think this is amazing. And I feel like anyone who grew up watching like iCarly and just Disney and like all that stuff, like because she's not the only child actress that went through these similar things, and it's really eye-opening because we are like, me personally, my age group, like idolized people like Jeanette McCurdy growing up, and to think that she was going through this while we were sitting at home like watching these shows, like is so crazy and very sad. But yeah, this was a great audiobook. Okay, next book I read, Too Late by Colleen Hoover. Let me just say a disclaimer, I'm not on the Colleen Hoover hate train. I personally think that her books got me back into reading, which I'll forever be thankful for. Do I see some controversy with her now as an author as I've done more research and whatnot? Like the whole ugly love sister, like yeah, now I understand that, but I also am not going to go back and hate on the books that I did read, because in those moments I really enjoyed them and I really liked them, and that's fine. I feel like on book talk or booktube, whatever, we're like kind of afraid to admit that, which I'm not. So I did have Too Late. I did want to read this since the beginning of my Colleen Hoover reading journey. I've read almost all of her books, so I really don't have that many left. I kind of left the ones I wasn't really that interested in to read later, or maybe never read, I don't know. But when this just got republished, or like the cover and everything got changed, I really wanted it because it was marketed as a dark romance. A lot of people said it was actually really good and it's different from all of her other books. So I did pick it up and I just really, really hated this book. And I've read dark romances. I've read like Hunting and Hunting Adeline, Does It Hurt, like Sophie Lark. So I'm not like triggered by that type of stuff. But the guy in this book was disgusting. Like, not even in like, sometimes like you read Morley Gray men characters or like the bad guy and it's like, yeah, obviously he's the bad guy, we're not gonna love him. But I just felt like this book he was just giving me the ick. Like, and he wasn't even the main love character, he was the guy that she was like trying to get away from, I guess. But I just felt like we focused too much on him, and I don't know how to really go into it without spoiling anything. But for me, this was not a good book. And again, so I'm not part of the Colleen hate train. Like, I'm not saying that just because Colleen Hoover. I just absolutely did not like this, no matter who wrote it, which was kind of upsetting because I have liked almost every single book I read by her, honestly, and that's my honest review. So yeah, I just don't think that she should do dark romance, because compared to the dark romance authors that I've read, then I read All Good People Here. This is by Ashley Flowers, and this is a thriller. I was actually really excited. I'm a huge crime junkie fan. I love my top 2 listen to podcasts on Spotify are Crime Junkie and Murder with My Husband. I love those so much. I will say I used to listen to them a lot more, probably like a year or 2 ago. I don't listen to Crime Junkie as much anymore now that I live alone most of the time. So, but yeah, anyways, Ashley Flowers is a co-host on Crime Junkie's podcast. So when I saw this come out, I honestly just bought it because I thought that was a really cool concept, that she was like one of my favorite podcasters and now had a book. And I also feel like she could probably write a good thriller because you've literally covered hundreds of cases where you have to have some ideas flowing. But I didn't like love this. It's kind of hard because I've read so many amazing thrillers that this just didn't fall in the same like category. But I also did enjoy it. I just feel like some of the plot, or like the plot twists, were very predictable. And the way that I rate thrillers is if the plot twist is predictable, I'm not going to rate it that high, because I go into a thriller wanting to be thrilled and I want to like close the book and be like, what just happened? I'm so sorry. You probably hear all this ruckus. It's literally my cats back there. But if I lock them out, they'll just cry. So anyways, yeah, this is kind of hard because like I did like it, but I didn't love it. But basically what happens in this book is this girl comes to live with her uncle. He has, I think, Alzheimer's or dementia. Is that the same thing? I don't know. It's like a small town. She's living with him for a little bit to take care of him. And then this similar murder case ends up happening while she's there, which like the same thing kind of happened years ago. And so the town is like in an uproar, and she's like a reporter, so of course she wants to like help investigate or like get some juice on it. And her uncle's acting a little weird, and like there's just like a lot of different subplots. So yeah. Next, I finally read Ghosted. I was so excited to read this. I think I also read this for the Sarah Crowley 5-star video. I literally could not wait to read this, and I think I gave it like a 5-star, maybe 4.75. This is a second chance romance, and it's a little bit of a different trope than I've read. So the guy ends up being famous as they get older, and think like guys who play in Marvel movies, like that's who he is in this book. He's playing the character of like a very famous Marvel character. So think like Spider-Man, Batman, like whatever. And he ended up actually having a child with this girl years ago. It's not like like you know about it. That's not, let me make sure. Yeah, she's a single mother. Okay, I want to make sure you guys knew that before I spoiled it. But yeah, so he's kind of trying to come back now years later, but it's hard because he's like famous, and his kid is actually like a fan of the movie that he plays in, but she doesn't know it's her dad. And yeah, I just feel like it was really good. It's very different from the childhood friends to lovers or second chance romances that I've read, and it's very emotional. And I normally don't love kids in books, but I think this kid was really cute and the story was really cute, so I loved this one. Then I read The Way I Used to Be. This is actually a reread. Kind of. I have read it before, but I read it literally in 2017, so I didn't really remember anything about it. But I actually did really enjoy this, and this kind of could be probably a triggering book, so I'm not going to talk too deep into that in case people get triggered easily. It is YA, but it covers a very heavy, sad topic. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I did really enjoy it for what it was. So I am scared to put this on the internet because I might get hate, but I read Fourth Wing and I didn't like it, which I've already made a TikTok about this, and I've had a few people actually tell me they felt the same way, which makes me feel a little bit better because I was so nervous. But I'll just preface it by saying I'm not a huge fantasy person. So when I go into fantasy books, I go in like very different than most people. I kind of know that I'm probably not gonna love it anyway, because I'm just not a huge fantasy reader. I did like Akhtar, but I didn't finish the series. Like, I haven't really read that much. I'm trying to think like what I've really read. I read The Ballad of Never After and Once Upon a Broken Heart, the two books right there. I absolutely love those though, but I don't know if they're classified as fantasy. I think they are, but those were 5-star reads for me. So I'm trying to like dabble more into it because I may enjoy it eventually. But I think reading about dragons just wasn't it for me. I already don't love reading about like fae and having to learn what that even was because I had no idea what that was. But the dragons wasn't for me, and I don't like Game of Thrones, like shows like that. I don't watch. So I feel like if you're into that, you'll probably love this, and I think that's kind of why I'm not loving it. And I also just felt really bored throughout it, and yeah. But again, just saying, I'm not a huge fantasy girl, so that might be why, and I wanted to give it a shot, and maybe down the line I'll like fantasy more and more, and then I can give this a reread and maybe my perspective will change. But yeah. Okay, my last 2 physical books before we jump into Kindle reads. I read the first 2 books in the Ravenhood series by Kate Stewart, right? Yeah. So I read the first 2. This was actually a reread, and this was kind of a reread. So I read this last year. I read half of this and never finished it. I read them last year, I think during the point of me moving here to North Carolina, and I have said this a lot, but any books I read in that like 3-4 month span, I really just didn't give my all because I was moving and I was like going through a lot of stuff. So I didn't really love it, but I honestly couldn't really tell you much about it because that point in my life was just, you know. So my best friend actually just read it, and she was like, you literally need to read it. Like, I understand what you're saying, but you need to go back and reread it. And I was like, you know what, fine. I was on the phone with her one day and she was like, just go on Amazon and buy it right now. Like, she really forced me to buy it. And then I had like Amazon points, so I ended up buying, I only bought the first 2, and I'm gonna get the 3rd book. I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to and finish off the series because I actually did enjoy it a lot more this time around. I think that I was actually paying attention and my life wasn't crazy. I actually like got the concept of what was happening, and I actually did really enjoy it. I think a lot of people have read this so far, but yeah. Okay, next we have our Kindle books. I think I only read, did I read 1 or 2? I think I read 2. Okay, also look at my Kindle, you guys. I just finally got stickers for my Kindle. I literally got them right before this video started. Look how cute she is. Are you kidding me? I need to buy a new pop socket because I had to take mine off. But once I have a pop socket, like, she's so cute. But yeah, we read 2 books on the Kindle this month. First one being Don't Let Her Stay by Nicola Sanders. I'm really sad because this book was a book that was trending on TikTok that was like, I haven't heard of this book, but it was amazing. Like, people were like blowing this book up, and I was thinking it's gonna be like the next Rock Paper Scissors. Like, I was so excited, and I really did not enjoy this thriller at all. I don't know what is with this month, but these thrillers were not it. The plot twist on this book, literally, I feel like there wasn't even a plot twist. Like, they were kind of hinting at what the plot twist was the whole entire book, and I immediately guessed it, and I feel like two of the main characters were insufferable, and I just really didn't like it, but that's okay. A Deal with the Devil, which is by Elizabeth O'Rourke. I was ranting and raving about The Summer We Fell, which is also another book by her. So now I'm kind of just going through her backlist and reading a few books. I did really like this book, but I liked the other book way better. I think I gave this one like a 3 stars. It is a workplace or like boss employee romance, which I did really like that. I feel like the characters in her books are always just really like the main male characters are always so good. He's like rich and she's like his assistant, and basically she's just kind of like seeing that he's a little bit of a floozy, but no one's really like taking care of him. He doesn't take care of himself, so she just kind of like starts doing that a little bit, and he's like, why are you doing that, and like blah blah, and it's just the tension and the angst and all that is great, and I really liked it. So, but that is all of the books. I don't know why I'm still waving my Kindle around. That is all the books I read in July. I actually ended up having a pretty good reading month, which was really exciting, all things considered. As I'm filming this, I'm in a huge reading slump, which really sucks. So I think I need to like do some videos, some like themed reading videos to get me out of this. But yeah, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you've read any of these or what your favorite book you read in July was. And I'll see you guys in my next one.